GoFundMe has jackknifed the Freedom Convoy. Hey there, this is Tom with Tom's Talk Show, and this is my new channel talking about things that are going on in the world, and just kind of looking over things and seeing, my this whole trucker story. That's people, they're kind of going around, trying to get into Canada, and some of them are not vaccinated. There's a mandate in Canada for vaccine, and many of the truckers from the United States, we're talking, a lot of good old boys. We're talking, hardworking people who are, trying to make a living, who spend, a lot of them just spend time in the cab, maybe not even, possibly don't even interact with anyone, as they drive. Maybe go out, put fuel in the truck, and maybe, grab a little bit to eat. So it's not like they're, sitting in, an office building, crowded area, crowded space, or anything like that. They're usually alone in their truck. So they're like, I'm fine. I'm just doing my haul. I'm just doing that. Well, GoFundMe is now withholding $4.7 million. And actually right now it's $4.9 million. If I refresh, it'll probably be $4.95 million. Continues to go up as people understand that if they want their stuff, these guys need to be rolling. Right? So GoFundMe has frozen the assets $4.7 million fundraiser for the trucker convoy that's wending its way across the country toward Ottawa in protest of vaccine mandates. So this is a statement from GoFundMe, which says, we require that fundraisers be transparent about how the flow of funds and have a clear plan for how those funds will be spent. In this case, we are in touch with the organizer to verify that information. So if you go to the GoFundMe page, boom, right down here on the bottom. In order to your generation donations to flow smoothly, good people at GoFundMe will be sending donations directly to our bulk fuel supplier. We're working out the details now, which means your hard-earned money is going straight to who it was meant for and need not flow through anyone else. Any leftover donations will be donated to a credible veterans organizations, which will be chosen by the donors. Money raised will be dispersed to our truckers to aid them with the cost of the journey. Funds will be spent to help cover the cost of fuel. Truckers, first and foremost, will be used to assist with food needed and contribute to shelter if needed. So that's at least the very, beginning of a plan. I don't think, they're not going to give us the actual names. I don't think, this is going to this organization. It says directly to their bulk fuel supplier, probably the CFN, Commercial Fuel Network. I did some work for a company processing funds as part of the CFN, and depending on whose card gets swiped through, we had to figure out the dollar amounts and charges and stuff and money that needed to be dispersed to each group in this fuel network. So it's a very large network, nationwide network, and it's in place. So it's not like it's something that this isn't known. So this was reported on January 25th, which is today. Of course, Canada says the best way to continue to prevent supply chain disruptions is ensure that everyone gets vaccinated. I completely disagree with that. I think it's up to your choice. So doing my work, doing what I need to do, and getting information as I see information is needed. If this is so drastic that everybody needs to get vaccinated, then there had better be, a ton of people, having COVID in Canada. So we go to the COVID-19 tracker.ca. So this is Canada, and you can see here as in December, the Omicron, hit through Canada here in this graph over here. But if you click and add the line of deaths here, it's basically flatline across. You can't see it because of the scale of the testing. So to me, this means percentages is, very, very low. Now these lines are cumulative, so as these things go up, I think they're, continually, they're adding them up. It's not how many per day. So if we take the cases off and just look at the deaths right here, deaths in Canada are about 32,000. So if we add the cases back, that's right at the top. I think they're up here. These numbers is 2.9 million cases. So that and that's kind of a sticky thing for me because, is this just people testing positive and have the sniffles and go home? Right? I mean, if you have all these people testing positive and only 32,000 deaths, I mean, I did the math, right? That's just hovering at 1%. So, granted, I feel, I have had friends die from COVID, and other friends of ours have had their family members die. They have people with multiple comorbidities, of course, but still it affects families and everything, and I'm very, I'm sensitive to that. But there's a point where you've got to say, the flu, if we go over and look at the flu, they don't have very good numbers in Canada for the flu. I went back to the 2018, 2019, because any numbers in 2020, there was zero flu, even though we know there was probably still the same amount of flu. Looking at some of the graphs and everything, I think they're about, for the different types of flu, they're about the same. It ended up being about the same rate. It ended up being about a 1% death rate from the flu. So we don't force everyone to, mandate getting a flu shot. We say, hey, this would be a good idea. These are the flu strains we think are coming around. We're taking a guess at what we need to shoot you up with. But, here you go. Right? So to lock a whole entire country down for something that's, out in some of the ice areas, probably death by car accident, death by bear mauling in some areas is probably more than, 1%. Death by just freezing, freezing to death. Some of these places in the very rural areas. If you lose power, you lose heat or anything, that you're going to die from not having, heat and electricity. So, that could even be, a 1% number somewhere in the country. So, I think Canada's in the wrong. I think as Omicron is very mild. I was sick last week. I didn't go get tested because I don't really care. But I had what they were calling the sinus thing and the throat thing. I had that, last week. I just stayed. I work from home, so I stayed home and I just rested over the weekend. So, what is this gonna, 16, I think it says there's 16,000 or something truckers in this list. There's how many does it say? Somewhere I saw there was a number. Yeah, I have 120,000 Canadian truck drivers who regularly traverse the border. 16,000 of them may be sidelined. So the chances of one of these people coming in contact with somebody else who is in contact with somebody who has 3 or 4 comorbidities, as we found out from the CDC, most 75% of the people who died had 4 comorbidities. I almost can't even name 4. So to block them from bringing goods into Canada because of these restrictions gets to be a little asinine to me. With Omicron not, being, I think, checking the numbers in Florida, the 7-day rolling rate now for almost all the counties that I can find is 0. But people are getting tested and they're being positive, so they're they get a little bit sick and all that stuff. But So what's the deal, right? It's just this mandate that makes them very totalitarian. I mean, it's you know looking at their neighbor country, United States, who just had this shot down, the mandates shot down. Maybe it's a time to rethink. Maybe it's time to let your people have some freedom and get back to living as, your death number, your number of deaths is extremely low, and even though your case test is positive, that test people who are symptomatic, and if they need hospitalization, have them hospitalized. I mean, 10,000 people across the entire country of Canada is not that many. Really? I mean, that's really not a lot. And I don't know if that's, can't be cumulative. And only 1,200 are in the critical. So that's not very much at all. So, and you've almost got your whole entire population vaccinated, even though we know you can still spread it and get it, even though you're vaccinated, which kind of is the fail in all of this stuff. So let's see what's our fundraiser up to now. We're getting very close to the 5 million Canadian dollars. So this is Canadian money. So 4.96 million Canadian dollars. So it's getting close. I mean, GoFundMe automatically will kick to the next goal level, right? Once you pass that, which I think would probably be, I don't know if it'd be 10 million. I don't know what the next goal on their system is, but yeah. So I do have to say in these videos, because this is going on YouTube, number one, any information, anything about what type of treatment you need to have, what symptoms you have, what you want to decide to do is between you and your doctor. I am giving no medical advice. I am just passing on information off of websites and a little assumptions on my own. So just to make that completely clear. There we go. All right. Well, thanks for watching this. Have you donated? Do you think the trucker should just give it up and go start working somewhere else? That's always an option. Maybe take some of this money and retrain. Who knows? I mean, if you've been trucking all your life, my wife's uncle was a truck driver, did LA to New York for many years. Just hard working, just driving. I mean, I can't even think of driving. We drove across the country to move from California to Florida, and I wouldn't even want to do that again at all. So, all right. Where do you go? Comment, subscribe. Thanks. Bye.